It's 10 o'clock and this is the network service of Radio Nigeria. Good morning, listener. Welcome to another edition of Electoral Reform Hour on the network service of Radio Nigeria, your platform for thoughtful conversations on building stronger, more credible electoral system in Nigeria. Last week we explored the importance of citizen-centered electoral reforms with Salahuddin Hashim, PhD, Program Director at the Clean Foundation. The discussion focused on how to make elections safer, more inclusive, and truly reflective of the people's will. It was an enlightening conversation that reminded us that the electoral integrity begins with protection and empowerment of the voter. This week, we're doing things a bit differently. We're hosting a special Electoral Reform Hour Townhall, the first in a new monthly series that will be held every Thursday of the month. Each edition will bring together key stakeholders to dive deeper into critical electoral issues shaping Nigeria's democratic future. Today, we will be discussing the future of Nigeria's democracy and the need to ensure free, fair, and credible elections. We have a panel and a distinguished guest speaker. Their voices will be in the studio, ready to engage, reflect, and chart a path forward. My name is Emmanuel, your anchor. Stay with us. It promises to be a rich and engaging conversation. Electoral Reform Hour is a program aimed to foster inclusive dialogue among citizens from varied backgrounds concerning electoral reform and constitutional amendment. We hope to enhance public understanding and awareness regarding electoral reform and compile and present citizen-derived recommendations to the National Assembly and Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for consideration. This program is brought to you by Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PAACA, with support from MacArthur Foundation. A functioning democracy depends on the ability to hold transparent elections, just and representative of the people's choices. Excuse me. In Nigeria, however, the process of ensuring that elections are free, fair, credible, continues to face substantial challenges throughout the election period, from voter registration to the results issues like electoral violence, corruption, and voter intimidation undermine trust in the system. Additionally, the influence of money, political interference, and insufficient electoral reforms has left the process vulnerable to manipulation, eroding confidence in the fairness of elections. This shows that ensuring credible elections, is not simply about organizing polls. It is about creating an environment where citizens can participate without fear and where the election outcomes will genuinely reflect the will of the people. Meaningful reforms, more than temporary fixes or minor adjustments, it must center on protecting citizens' rights, ensuring transparency, and addressing systemic flaws in the process. This requires solid legal frameworks, impartial enforcement of electoral laws, and technological solutions that enhance accountability. Looking towards the future, we must ask, how can we ensure that the process genuinely reflects the will of the people? What steps can be taken to restore public trust and create a truly fair electoral system for all participants? In today's program, things are a bit going to be different. We're just not going to have one guest, but we'll have a very special guest of honor, and indeed, our main guest speaker for this program with other stakeholders. Please, it's my pleasure to welcome Honorable Barrister J.C. Okey-Joe Onuakalusi.
Thank you. Thank you, Nigerians.
Member House of Representatives, Oshodi Isolo, Federal Constituency 2 in Lagos State. And I also have Mr. Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel Obiabo is a voter from Gwagwalada Area Council.
Thank you very much.
And I also have the Secretary of the Ushafa Chief Palace, Mr. Danlami Busa.
Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I will start with the first segment of the program, and we'll be looking at where we stand, the state of our democracy, and like I said, Honorable Onuakalusi, you my very guest speaker for this morning, so you're going to take the first shot. How has your constituency responded to past elections? And what feedback have you received regarding the credibility or otherwise of those elections?
Thank you, Nigerians. What a pleasant moment to be at your station and to be part of this the new move to make electoral system in Nigeria free and fair. Well, I must say that I am privileged to have contested election for several times, and 2023 election should be my fourth time of contesting for election. Wow. So I have a fair knowledge of the challenges we witness in electoral processes. The area of my concern this morning, I want to look at a particular area because when you're talking about free and fair election, it's generic. But I specifically want to look at areas of great concern that will be of much concern to Nigeria, where they call a collection center. I look at the area of collection center in our electoral system and the role of security agencies. And if you know that collection center, when we're talking about democracy, election is a cornerstone for democracy and allows citizens to choose their leaders and shape the policy. Invariably, the electoral processes must be transparent, inclusive, and credible for it to offer Nigeria democracy we want. And if you look at Section 2 of the 2022 Electoral Act, there are three basic primary functions. One is to conduct voter and civic education. Two, to promote knowledge and democratic electoral process. And the third aspect is to conduct a referendum required to be conducted under a provision of the Constitution of Nigeria. In other words, these are the basic functions of INEC. And the Electoral Act stipulates this. And these are the things I want us to look at. But I have areas of great concern, which I know that have been what I call the collection center have been an albatross for free, fair, and credible election in Nigeria. And I want to do a comparative analysis of the collection centers in Kenya, Senegal, and United States of America. That is to give you the areas of concern that once we get this area right, it becomes we are going to have a near perfect election. So in the electoral reform, if you look at the various acts, Section 60 mandate INEC mandate presiding officers to count votes and to enter results in a prescribed form. Section 60 sub 1 requires electoral transmission of results and accredited voters from polling unit to the collection center. Section 60 sub 5 stipulates the movement of physical result sheet and ballot papers to the collection center. Section 61 provides announcement of each election at its various stage. And Section 6 empowered INEC to compile, maintain, and update electoral register of voter results. And Section 63 emphasized on secure delivery of electoral material to the collection center. So we find that the laws that we have in it make provision for good and fair election. But we have seen that in the course of time, during the electoral process, there are several challenges, and the challenges are centered on the collection center. That is my area of emphasis, because I know you have discussed other areas, but I want to center my own on the collection center. And that's the area for
thank you for your opener. And I'm happy that you want to major your conversations around collation, which is actually transmission of results. But I know you are a politician.
Yes,
so I know that elections is polling unit centric. It is conducted at the polling unit level. What role do party agents play in the harnessing of the results for their political parties? And in your experience, do you think that they have effectively played that role?
That's the way I started from that aspect, to give you a background. So because a fair understanding of the background gives you, this is what I'm saying in effect, that the laws make provision for it. But we did discover at that collection center, the party agents and observers are not allowed by circumstances to play their active role in line with the Electoral Act.
What is their role?
Their role, one is to warn a party agent must be at the polling agent, get signed into the system by the presiding officer. They take inventories of all the materials, both sensitive and non-sensitive materials, and they ensure that the sensitive material, which is from EC83, are already genuine and nothing have been tampered on it. And from that point, there will be accreditation of voters. Voters will be, and it will be entered, the results will be counted, and will be entered into the process.
The process, as you know, because this is a voter education town hall.
Yes.
It's a voter education town hall, so we want to place things in proper perspective. First is that the results are entered into a form EC8A, and a copy of the result at the polling unit is given to security and the party agent. Then it moves from that point to the next point. If it is for state elections, it will go to the ward, go to the local government, and then come to the state. And these results that are mined from the polling unit is what all these agents should have. That's why I asked, what is your own experience of the role of these party agents?
Well, from my experience on the various, I know that party agents many times want to play their own role, get those funds, superintend over the process accreditation, the voting process, the results entered in the forms, and they collect their own duplicate copies. But what I'm saying in effect that these are the issues, the normal things. But in many cases, as we have seen in the last elections, some areas, the even party agents were not allowed because some of them were being chased away by thugs. There are challenges in that area.
Who has the thugs?
There are challenges. Let us place things in perspective, because I don't want us to. We are not doing academic exercise. What we want to do there is to achieve results.
Yeah.
And what we need to do to present things as it is. You and Nigerians, I know you, by virtue of it, you have been in several observers in elections. I know the challenges you have. So I just want us to call a spade, and we want to say these are the areas we are having challenges, and these areas that we need to address. And these are some of these things because the Lord has made provision for it. But the traditional behaviors of the operators, both you and I, the voters and the voted, are the problem. So these are the areas I wanted to emphasize on. You are the voters are the problem, the voted are the problem, the observers are the problem, because we intend to many of them overreach the circumstances. So I want to, because if we want to get the voter system right, every party must play its own role or be allowed to play its own role. Invariably, when those rules are not allowed to be implemented to the letter, we have problem. And I've visited some other countries where the elections are done, where party agents, because the party agent has a mandatory right to be at the polling unit. They have the mandatory right to be at the collection center. It is compulsory. The law makes it compulsory. But many occasions or many times, we don't see it being played out as it were in line with the laws. So that's why my emphasis has been, yes, the law is there, but the operators, which both of us are part of it, need some changes to make it effective. That's my area of concern.
Excellent. So what do you identify as the primary obstacles of achieving what you have just talked about? What are the main obstacles to achieving free, fair elections?
One is the voters, who it is his right to ensure that their party are actually allowed to observe the process. Two is the politicians, who are the beneficiaries of the vote. And three is the observers, who sometimes look the other way around without reporting them. And fourth is the security agents, who are meant, the law mandated, to protect the electoral system, to protect the voters, and to protect the vote. So these are the four categories of men that have to play a critical role to make it work.
Thank you very much. So, Danlami Busa, the secretary of the, you've been around the elections as well. What has been your own experience?
As I earlier said, I'm by name Danlami, not Danlami.
Oh, Danlami, sorry, Busa.
Danlami Busa. Really, as Honorable has already highlighted on my own experience as a chief secretary in Ushafa. Already elections have been conducted, and actually, once they want to conduct any election in our community, once the official came that want to conduct election, they will surely come and meet the chief. Then from there now, they will now identify themselves, what they want to do. Then the chief will now make his own awareness to inform his subject, so that they will go out and maintain the peace, law and order, so that they will go and cast their vote and elect their choice, peaceful. And this is what I can be able to say for
Thank
that.
you very much. And the voter, have you or anyone in your community felt unsafe, wanting to vote? And then pivoting on what Honorable just said, what are your own, as a voter, somebody who has been voting, what has been your main challenge in terms of free, fair, credible elections?
There have been a couple of challenges. Thank you for having me. One of it, I would say, is the party.
Tell us where you stay.
Okay, I stay on the airport road, a community called Sabo Ido. But in the last election, I voted in Mabuchi.
Okay.
I used to reside in Mabuchi, and then I deliberately decided not to change my polling unit because I wanted to vote, and I was kind of scared not to lose that opportunity. Maybe something happens and I'm not able to vote. And so I voted in Mabuchi. And so for example, the last election which I voted in Mabuchi, I made sure I slept over the night, passed the night in Mabuchi.
I was going to ask you how you made your way to
I passed the
place.
night in Mabuchi so I could vote. And one of the challenge I saw was D-Day change of polling units. And I was a victim of that because my polling unit was at the primary school just close to the police station in Mabuchi, if you're familiar with Mabuchi. And then on the D-Day, for some reason, my face and everything is showing in terms of the voters register, shows that I'm supposed to vote here. On the D-Day, it was changed to the Chief's Palace. And there are several other persons that were not patient enough to scout the new polling unit. And so that alone leads to disenfranchisement. People turn back. I mean, I'm here, my face shows I'm to vote here. But at the end of the day, I'm unable to vote because I don't know. Some people got text messages, but some didn't get. I didn't get text message, for example. That's one I see. The other one I would say is just after the election, what happened, which became a national controversy. For some people that stayed back to actually see that, their votes counted. I mean, the local palace, you hear your vote doesn't count. And then people stayed back to see that, that was entered. And then for some reason, the glitch which we saw wasn't working. That alone, for first-time voters that maybe thought, this is my time to participate in vote. For people that thought, let my vote really count. And then at the end of the day, that experience is not something that...
Were there party agents in the polling unit where you voted?
Yes, there were party agents.
Were results collated and announced in the polling unit?
Results were collated and announced in the polling units.
Did the party agents collect their results?
The party agents collected their results.
Okay. Honorable, let me go to my guest speaker. Honorable, you've been promoting quite a lot of bills in the National Assembly that are not actually... I know you did a local... the one on local...
Content.
Yes, local content bill, which is your most popular bill, really.
Yes,
But are there other bills or initiatives that you are pursuing in the electoral?
Yes, I'm interested on how the INEC chairman is appointed or nominated. So I have a bill to alter the constitution to make it open for qualified people to apply. That when it comes to change of guard of the leadership of INEC, it should be advertised. Qualified people should apply, and they will be shortlisted and to be voted by National Assembly. That is my own proposed bill that has caused the first reading. I'm waiting for it to go to a second reading. The essence of that, when you throw it open for people to qualify for it, a lot of people will vie for it. And when they vie for it, the people who are qualified will be shortlisted. And when they are shortlisted, the National Assembly will vote for the president. So that's, for me, personally, makes it more independent. And that's why I'm promoting that bill. I look forward that it pass the second reading and will come for public hearing, so that people will be able to have opportunity to say, why are you advocating for it? Because even some areas in the United States, as attorney generals are being voted for. There are certain positions, and I have done a lot of study research in some countries where the provision is thrown open for qualified people to vote, to apply. When you apply, you'll be shortlisted. The best three will now be voted to become the chairman of the
Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center created this, invited you to be able to spotlight this your bill.
Yes, sir.
And other bills that you are interested in, especially the ones that has to do with electoral reforms.
Yes, sir.
What is the current method of appointment of INEC chairman, and what is wrong with it?
Well, the present, constitutionally, it is the executive that appoints. And when the executive appoints, it sends it to the National Assembly for approval. But I have looked at its various positions, because in the last couple of leadership, we have had successful appointment. But at the end of the day, there are some people who felt that this is not being the chairman per se is not performing his duty impartially. That is the observations in the last two elections we had.
The one you benefited from?
Yes, in the last two elections we have, because of some challenges that are incorporated. So some of us start thinking out of the box. What can we do to make it more independent? What can we do to make it more impartial? What can we do to make it more transparent, that people will say, we are the one. The positions we advertise and the people apply, because many times you appoint people who are not interested in performing that role. But the moment somebody applies for a job, then it means that he has interest. Secondly, it means that he has something to offer. Thirdly, it means that he's going to be held accountable because he offered the job. Just like I offered to be elected at the National Assembly, and I owe my constituents the duty to ensure that I'm able to perform to a level I will say that I have done my own bit to seek for further election. That's my own position. So it has nothing to do, but it is my personal conviction that that position should be advertised.
Yeah, we would continue to like you said, there will be public hearings, yes, and many people would weigh into this. But congratulations, and thank you so much for at least promoting, conversations around that. We'll be going to break shortly. The voter, many voters cite issues with the continuous voter registration process. Did you or anyone in your community face any difficulty during registration or locating polling units? I know you talked about that during voting, but how did they affect participation in Mabushi, where you participated?
Okay, for the continuous voters registration process, one of the things I interacted with is the fact that it is almost towards the closeness or the nearness of the election that people start picking interest to register to vote, and I think I have a recommendation on that to say I don't know how cost-effective measures to make sure that even now people can walk in, register to vote, and there is maybe a publicity around that to know that just the way you want to have an international passport and you can always register, you don't have to wait. Yes, you can register, you can apply for your passport when you want to travel, but at the same time you can apply 2 years before you travel. So also people should have opportunity to register right now. I think that will take care of a lot of the high traffic that comes when people it's close to the election. But I would say INEC did their bit, but the demand was so high, and so some people had to wait hours. some people lost interest in registering at the end of the day when it came close to the election.
So, Danlami, what was your own experience during voting? Did you vote?
Yes, I vote. I'm a citizen of Nigeria.
Did you face any challenges that you want to share with us?
The challenge facing there is based on the sometimes transportation depend some vote unit. I mean the area that you vote, sometimes it will be far away, and you may likely trek. Difficult concerning the motor, sometimes when they want to do a voting like that, the whole movement will be restricted. So that is the challenge that many faces in our community sometimes to the polling unit.
Thank you. We're going on a short break. It is still the Electoral Reform Hour, and you can be part of this live program by sharing your comments via the social media platforms on X at PAACA.ng with the hashtag Electoral Reform Hour, and you can leave your message, your questions and comments for us on Facebook via at PAACA and our WhatsApp number on 081-680-83424.
This is Electoral Reform Hour on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Are you ready for change? Join Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PAACA, every Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria for the Electoral Reform Hour. This program will amplify electoral reform campaigns and provide citizens with opportunity to make meaningful contributions that will strengthen our electoral process.
If you get the presidential election in place and National Assembly in place, and something happens to the governorship and the state assembly, there will be a president in place, there will be National Assembly in place. They can play a key role in making sure that the gap does not affect our constitutional stability. So I think that the way we are going is much, much better, and we should stick to it. It has worked for us and it's working for us, and there's no need to change what is working as of today.
Part of the things we used to grapple with then was the issue of ballot box snatching. You also would grapple with the issue of using police officers to even snatch the ballot boxes, the police officers that go with the politicians to the polling units. Over time, we saw that some of those issues that were identified, there were steps being taken to address them.
I think for INEC to build the confidence of citizens in whatever technology it's deploying, it doesn't really need to wait until there is an official complaint.
The electoral process, if we don't have women engaging or being represented, it means that our electoral process is not democratic, because democracy in itself is about inclusion and is about representation.
Let's embark on this path to significant transformation and well-informed decision-making together. As the National Assembly, INEC and other stakeholders work toward improving our electoral process, you too can be a part of the decision-making process by participating in the radio program.
You are on to Comrade Abdullah Mohammed, a.k.a. Aluta Osmis. I'm calling for Bida Local Government Area Council of Lagos State. I want to ask if a non-INEC staff is found with EC8, that is INEC original result, filled before the conduct of election, what will be the penalty of such non-INEC official?
My name is Mr. Zion. I'm calling you from Bayelsa State. When it comes to elections in this part of the world, we are not sincere to ourselves. We are so hypocritical and we are so criminally minded. You don't see the sincerity in us. You don't see the patrioticity in us. If Big Brother Nigeria can conduct election electronically to get their winner, how come Nigeria as a country, we cannot achieve the same results? Let us go back to the normal form, where you come with your paper, the community is here, they can see my face, they can see my picture, you tick me, I go straight to the voting system. Let us learn to save the money we don't have in this country.
My name is Isaiah, calling from Abuja. The other day, we were looking at the website of the current political party that is leading in the country, and then we found out that on the part that puts their vision and mission, there is nothing pertaining to a particular vision that holds the party together. And then it's beginning to look like in our political party system that most political parties are just a conduit fight for leadership positions, which is not what we see in other clients in other countries. I would like to hear what the guests in the house really have to say about this.
Remember, democracy is for the people. Let your voice be heard. This message is brought to you with support from MacArthur Foundation. PAACA, making democracy work for the people.
Thanks for staying tuned. We are back with your favorite program, Electoral Reform Hour, on the network service of Radio Nigeria.
Welcome back to Electoral Reform Hour. Thank you for staying with us. If you just joined, we're discussing the future of Nigeria's democracy and the importance of ensuring free, fair, credible elections. We have some amazing guests in the studio who have been part of this important conversation and will continue to share their insights. I'm very excited to have Honorable Onuakalusi, who is a member of the House of Representatives, indeed a man who has done extensive work around promoting bills. And I'm happy to be joined by Prince Zakari, who is from the Kuje Area Council, who is also a voter. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable, I'll still stay with you. Will you support the idea of a unified election day in Nigeria to reduce cost and logistical problems? Or do you see some risk?
Well, if you can, I believe that since a day is set aside for election to be conducted, and people can vote on 3 ballots, there's nothing stopping them from voting on 5 ballots papers. Because on the first day, you vote for the presidential, senatorial, and representative. The second election, you vote for the governor and the House of Assembly. So if people can vote on 3 ballots per day, there's nothing wrong in having all the elections held on the same day. 1 is going to save us costs. 2 you're going to save 1 hour. Because every election day, every business activity is suspended. Perhaps you should find out from economists how much Nigerians lose on every election day based on economic activities. So if you can reduce it to a day, then go. And in some other climate in Ghana, people vote and go about their normal business. So it could be possible here. All you need is what the greatest challenge I have about Nigeria is attitudinal change. That's what we need. If you get it right, and we tune that we want to make it right, we'll get it right. If you vote, once you vote, you go about your normal business. You don't have to close the country, close the economy, nothing is going on because you want to conduct an election. People vote in other countries, even in Africa here. I'm using in Africa because many times people want to take the examples in Europe. They don't. We say that they have democracy over a long time. I'm talking about Africa. People vote in Africa and go about their normal business. So it makes it feel that it's no longer a do or die affair since it's the people, because the people you are voting for are meant to represent you and are accountable to you. So why will you now take other people's food because you want to send somebody who will represent you and accountable to you? So these are the areas I say that it can be done in 1 day. 5 elections, the presidential, the senatorial, the House of Reps, the governor, and the House of Assembly can be conducted in 1 day and results be declared. But the change starts in us. We, the voters, and the voted for. All Nigerians must take it as a responsibility, as a cause, as a clarion call to make this change. Until we do it, I think that's the best way. Thank you.
Ismaila, you are coming into when Honorable is discussing 1 day election. I'm sure you have voted before. So he's saying that if we can do 3, if we can vote for 3 positions in 1 day, that we can do 5 as well. What has been your experience? What do you think?
Thank you very much. I agree with what the Honorable just saying. Because we are, of a truth, we are losing a lot of economy because in election day, once it's come to election day, many things stopped. And what I look at is not, I'm not happy because election is all about to go and cast your vote. So what now stop for you to go and cast your vote either for president, let's say senator, governor? It's all about casting the vote and go. But I don't know where people cast their vote and remain there until
votes are counted.
The votes are counted, and maybe who won will be announced. On what for? And many things are losing. So I'm hearing about other countries that they vote and go. So if we are doing just as he said that change begin with we the voters. If only we know what we are doing, there's no need of after voting you remain there where other things are going are not moving on.
Emmanuel, you honorable talked about attitudinal change, and that attitudinal change has not happened. And then when we cite behaviors, electoral behavior in other countries, especially African countries, our politicians are not the same. The temperament of our politicians is not the same with that of Ghana, Sierra Leone, or Liberia, or even Senegal. So what do you think needs to happen for us to be able to achieve? All of us want this one-day, single-day election, but we know the challenges that we face. What do you think we can do to overcome these attitudinal problems that Honorable highlighted?
I know how effective social and behavioral change communication is. And I think if that can be adopted, we have a lot of scholars in psychology and the likes. So maybe we can adopt them, put them, their knowledge, their research to use and see how we can achieve this. Because there is only a political benefit why people decide to maybe remain after the vote, or why you vote one day and you vote the other day. Initially you vote for the federal the first time, and then the next week you vote from the state subnational and all that. And there's only political benefit because we hear that the president wants to know who will vote for him, and the governor will know who they will support and all that. If we can be genuine and serious with ourselves, we will know that economics, we will know that how does it benefit us. We will know that as a nation we can actually carry out our businesses. It's as simple as even queuing. People don't even want to queue to vote. They just want to rush. You come now and all that. So if we can have good, clear-cut social behavioral change communication, I believe we can achieve that.
Danlami.
Okay. Thank you. I want to align with the Honorable what he said based on using a one day, but this issue must be looked at vividly to be checked based on what my colleague has said, that we have the stakeholder that can look inward through this aspect. If that one day would be okay for the whole election to be cast in one day, because decline, they have already, federal government already giving the public holiday for the whole electorate to cast their vote. So if that one day will be enough for we Nigeria to cast the whole general election, to cast vote on one day, if that will be possible, we have the stakeholder that will look inward to check and see. But preferable for us is good, but they should look at it very well to check to see the disadvantage and advantage of it.
Honorable, your constituency, Oshodi Solo, is a metropolitan constituency, meaning is a city constituency, and this electronic transmission of results has been a conversation. Do you think that we should go full-blown electronic transmission of results?
Yeah, whatever happened in the city on election day equally reverberate on the other areas. Because in Nigeria now, I think you can make call 80% of the Nigerians. You can make calls. So if you're able to transmit and make calls, it means that they're going to have easy transmission of results. Just I will review that strongly. We need, once you want to do something, do it right and completely. The laws use the word may, and that leaves a lot of gap. But now there is various proposals for amendment to make it mandatory that the moment the results are collected, it will be transmitted, it will be makes it mandatory for presiding officer to transmit directly. So each result that is not transmitted to the collection center is null and void. There's a lot of proposals that is. So we look forward to a time where it becomes mandatory that transmission of results must be mandatory and compulsory and obligatory on the presiding officers to do. One, it saves you the trouble of paper. Because the moment you have a central tallying sections, once you transmit on it will collect it and give you figures. Then it reduces the albatross that exists in the collection center. And that will go a long way because the moment it's transmitted for the polling unit, my own polling, I have about 200 and something polling units. So by the time the results are transmitted, I can go to IRF and collect the result and tabulate it and wait for INEC to announce. So invariably, I know the result before the collection because it is transmitted and the law mandates whosoever that is pretending to do it. And I think we are working on it. We're working on it.
Should the political parties also have their own transmission of results system?
Well, in my research in other climate, they have what they call the situation rooms. So what they do in the various situation rooms, they will tabulate their own and wait for the electoral officer to announce. So by the time the electoral officers announce something contrary from their college situation rooms, it will lead to a legal challenge.
Do we have that here?
Yes, in my own case, during my own election, I have a collection center, so what I call situation room, that I set up in my little confine. So every returning officer, every party agent send me the from ECA photocopy. So the moment it's sent to me, I tabulate it. So I know the figures that are coming before the final results is announced, but I don't have the power to announce. I wait for the electoral umpires to announce.
So can we escalate? Because there's a reason I'm asking this question. Yes. I've been around the elections, yes, and I do know that the weak link is actually the political parties not having, depending on INEC, rather than having their own results collection centers. The reason I'm saying this is that the challenge is not the upload of results, it's collation, as you have continued to maintain.
Yes.
And we don't have a result electronic collation system yet.
Yes, it is being proposed.
That's what we need to have.
Yes.
Because we have upload of results.
Yes.
Not collation.
That's the
and I'm happy you continue to maintain that the weakest link.
The albatross, that's what I call it.
Yeah, I like that word. The albatross is that collation. So yes, if we have electronic collation of results, maybe we'll have a much better outcome.
Yes, the emphasis, just like you said, that once you have it's offloading, then the collection, because even now you can, once I get this copy, I can use an app to translate it to make it worse. The apps, the technology has gone down. Yeah. So with that, the moment you transmit, you're able to offload the electronic base that is obligatory in line with the law when it is amended. We now make it mandatory for you to transcribe it to words and do the calculation. With that, you save your setup. So I'm of the view, I'm still advocating that, why are we going into politics? Not for immediate. We are looking at what we are going to hand over to our children. Whether we're going to have a free and fair election, because until we get it right on a free and fair election, we can't say that we have a democracy. So I'm of the view, strongly believe that mandatory transmission of results, offloading and collection center should be part of the new amendment. And I want to, when I get to look at the ones I know whether it's captured. If it's not captured, I'll begin to propose it, add it to what I have done, so that we'll be able to have transmitted it to the collectors, transmitted collection center. And you see that the Senegal has a hybrid of this. Senegal here. And these are the people that Nigerians helped in one way or the other. Even Namibia, before even talking about beavers, Namibia that we Nigerians sponsor their independence, already doing it. So if we can do it, people who are sponsored to get their independence, I don't think nothing stops us from doing it well. And we can do it. In the last election, Nigerians spent over 300 billion naira to conduct 2023 election. And because of the span days of 2 different days. But if you have it in one day, we can reduce it to 200. Election is capital intensive, I agree, because of the mobilization of business. But however, whatever we are going to do, to get it right and to do it at the least cost, I am for it. So that's why I'm screenshotting more that to get it more done. Thank you.
I agree with you to a reasonable. So, Ismaila, Zakari Prince from Kuje. What specific change would increase your confidence in the electoral process?
Okay. You see, electoral process in our country today is of something that we cannot explain. Of a truth, election in 2 days, just as my Honorable said, it make us to spend a lot of money. But when we squeeze it in 1 day, at least it will reduce our expenditure. I don't know. Just as he made mention of some country that we sponsor them to have their own independence, but they are trying to get it right on what we are deliberating on. But we don't know what is happening to our own country here, Nigeria.
We are doing well. We may not have gotten to where we want to be, but we are not also. So it's not always correct to say that they are doing better than us, because I also went for elections in most of those places. But I thank you for your contribution. Danlami, what can traditional leader role can they play in discouraging vote selling and vote buying?
As I earlier said, as a traditional leader, the more issue of vote selling and vote buying is not something that is good to be seen in election day. As a traditional ruler, definitely you need to talk to their people so that you cannot use, not that somebody went and give you money before you cast a vote. Just went to the polling unit and cast whatever you have in mind to choose as your candidate and vote for. Not that they will just go and use, somebody give you the money before you now, change your mind and vote for somebody. No. Once you leave your house, go straight to the polling unit, cast the person you put in mind you want to vote for. Not that somebody, call it into corner and give you money before you do the voting. Such thing is not allowed. As a traditional ruler, our chief have been saying it, telling our people that once you collect the money, definitely whatever the person you are voting for, anywhere, once you win the election, you will not see it again because you already collect the money from him. So, issue of collecting money, both buying and other things is not allowed.
Is that the case?
Yes.
That if people get paid for their votes, you will not go back there again?
Well, I don't know about going back, because if you don't go back, how do you now come back again? So we go back every day, and every day we go back. But by and large, every Nigerian is interested in having election that will call their own. That's my position.
Emmanuel, has there been any voter education effort in your community in Mabushi that you saw, and whether by National Orientation Agency or by Independent National Electoral Commission? If they are aware, were they of any impact, or even on radio or TV? Did you come across any such voter education thing?
Specifically, the registering to vote, there was a lot of campaign online, not on the field, so to say, that I witnessed. And yes, I would say that it increased voter registration to some extent, because we saw that more people were interested to vote, more people trooped out to vote, and even it caused a creation of additional polling units, like I said, even on the D-Day, which has never been before. So I think more of that needs to be done beyond just registering to vote. Also conduct on the day of election, for citizens to be also more responsible. I hear a lot. Why I support people staying back to monitor their votes is also because of the current dispensation that we are in. Things are mostly done manual. When things are done electronically, I think the trust would increase. It doesn't mean that electronic process cannot be faulted or mutilated or taken advantage of, but it is more effective as compared to manual. And so I would support that, in the interest of transparency, in the interest of not making the term voter apathy a buzzword. We complain about people don't register to vote, people don't show up on the day of election. So we need to now start seeing that, not just about burning money to say, we use a lot of paper, INEC budgeted 700 billion, 300 billion and all that. How can we now see that the process is more transparent? And the truth of the matter is that when we begin to work towards a transparent process, we get to see that we even begin to save cost. For example, as he has said, we use less paper, and then most of the things are reusable.
Germany is one of the most advanced technologically. It runs a paper process. Because of trust issues in elections, what you have is a hybrid, like Honorable talked about. You don't wipe away, because you still need a paper trail. If you remember 2020, Trump, even up to now that he's still president, there are a lot of people still argue that, So, Honorable, in rounding up, what will be that single reform thing that you will suggest, or even as a lawmaker, that if it is put in our electoral process, things will take a radical turn?
Well, first of all, there are three things I want to: moral compass between the voters and the voters. Moral compass, that's one. Two, Nigerians should see election as an avenue to elect leaders, not to exploit other people. Thirdly, I must say that democracy is better than any best military rule. So we have this great opportunity to come 2027 to make a change and let Nigerians not lose hope. Nigeria is one of the greatest countries on the planet Earth, and I strongly believe that Nigeria will be great. So I
want to ask you, for just the benefit of our voters.
Yes.
Did you win the 2023 election?
I won landslide. I won with.
Why was it not rigged?
Because we are on the watch. Everybody was on the watch. We watch from the polling unit to the collection center.
So if Nigerians are on the watch, the right people will get to position.
Yes.
Because it was the same INEC that conducted your election.
No, what I'm saying is, I want to just to look at it. I don't want to personalize the issue.
No, there's a reason to personalize. No, Honorable, wait. It's my program. Yes. I know what I want to achieve from this program. Yes. Many people don't believe that their vote counts. And here you are, as a honorable member who won election, not by any other means other than that people voted for you. So I'm trying to find out from you, what do politicians like you need to do to reduce this trust deficit? That's why I'm personalized. That's why you came. Otherwise, we would have had a phone call or something. I want you here to be able to tell Nigerians what can be done to increase trust in the electoral process, because you won the election. One,
Nigerians should still believe that election can be conducted free and fair in Nigeria. Vote counts and announced. All we need is to still hold forth and follow up the process to the logical conclusions. If we follow the process to the logical conclusion, we get it right. That's I still believe in it, and some of us won by people's vote. Thank you.
1 minute to Zakari, to Danlami, and to Emmanuel. What are your final thoughts? Just 1 minute each.
My final thought is in form of a recommendation, and I would say that action should have consequences. And in that, I know that for the longest time I've heard of the Electoral Offences Commission. While I am not for or against the creation of that. I believe that the content or the idea around the Electoral Affairs Commission should actually be put into practice. We already have security agencies that can implement that. And then secondly, I see a lacuna in the law where you have to be 18 before you register to vote. And so what that means is that for people who probably turn 18 on election day or a day before election, they are not eligible to vote because they were not 18 as at the time of registration. So I think that needs to be looked into because that is also trampling on their right to vote.
Thank you very much. Danlami?
We see how confident with INEC. So what we are saying that the INEC should improve, and based on the reform that is ongoing, that the reform should keep on, but the INEC will, try and do their possible best to make sure coming election will be made better than what we saw.
Ismaila, Prince.
Likewise, what my brother Mr. Danlami said, I also want, I'm still recommending INEC that they are doing better, but we are still expecting that next election coming, 2027, from 2026 to 2027 election, they should put more effort so that the voters will still have more confidence on them.
Very special thanks to my guest of honor and my guest speaker today, Honorable Barrister J.C. Okey-Joe Onuakalusi, Member House of Representatives, Oshodi Solo Federal Constituency 2, Lagos State. Thank you so very much, Honorable, for making our time to be in this very special town hall meeting. Ismaila Zakari Prince, a voter from Kuje Area Council. Thank you so very much. Emmanuel Obiabo, voter from Gwagwalada Area Council. Thank you for joining us. And the Secretary of the Ushafa Chief Palace, Danlami Busa. Thank you so very much for joining the program. To our dear listener, thank you for joining us on this edition of the Electoral Reform Hour, brought to you by Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PAACA, with support from MacArthur Foundation. Our engineers and studio manager and our producers are Christy, engineer on duty is Christy Ankeli and Hassan Usman. And ICT personnel are Dami Lola, Akinpelu and Ojeme Emmanuel. And studio manager is Rosemary Ungu and Finehas Udweyo. And producers are Ando Emba Ohin and Joy Ubi. Supervisor is Susaina Akila. My facilitating crew has been Jeremiah Mbu, and Grace is not here today, but I have the program manager at PAACA, Isaiah Amoye, who is also joining us today. After this program, if you have any questions, you can reach out with text or WhatsApp on 0816-8083-424. We especially appreciate the contributions of our funders, MacArthur Foundation. The conversation continues next Thursday, same time, same station. My name is Ezen Wanwagu, your anchor, saying have a good day. Bye for now.